Hi, MikeRatner.com. This is Mike'sMastermind.com. So I've been in a pretty prolific, productive period of writing recently, and it's still, well, it's mid-January, the new year that I'm doing this, 2023. And I don't know why I'm in such a good mood cycle. There's quite a bit going on actually, but I'm hoping to get published and looking at my goals and want to have a great kickoff to the year. So I guess that's been inspiring. So I'm working on a couple ideas. My igoism, so IGO ism.com, which I just gave a previous talk to. And then people have been, my fans, my few circle of friends that sort of actually listen or read my stuff, have given me some supportive, positive feedback on WeltSchloss, which is my German word. First time I came up or created a German word. I do invent a lot of words, mostly as acronyms. This one's not. This is just a combination of two German words. WeltSchloss, which means world dwelling, and constructively is what we're building and what's being revealed. Uh, Erschlossenheit was the word I derivative from, so Welt coming from the world, and then kind of getting a sense of this, we use German words sort of in philosophy and a zeitgeist, spirit of the times. So I did quite a bit of writing. You can just go to WeltSchloss.com, and if you want to go to any of my writings, I'm sure there's a link there. GrandTourIdeas.com gives you an inkling overview of this, GrandTourIdeas.com, and I'll put a link there for WeltSchloss. So I was just starting to create sort of what the premise of chapter 2 would be. I won't go into explaining what WeltSchloss is from the whole philosophy. Don't you love the word though? WeltSchloss, and it does sound exactly as I'm explaining it. So I want to go deeper into the explanation, and I came up with a couple more acronym words that kind of qualify because we want to establish a premise to what WeltSchloss is and what it presents to us as an opportunity to realize and to reckon. Reckon's going to be a new word. We know reckoning, so I want to reckon as a way to sort of be in the WeltSchloss, deal with it, and also have sort of a reckoning with it. That creates a bit of a mastery. It's like master of the moment, be in the here and now, and that ability to be ultra being present, which I also talk about in my other related writing, will give us an ability to extract the best of what the WeltSchloss presents to us. And that's a key thing, what is presented, what's dwelling, already existing, and what this I, this intelligence, can then recognize and interpret and then extract. So I need to explain that. And so the GEMS is one of the new acronyms because it is, if you're mining the moment, what are you extracting? So GEM, GEMS, one of the words that I'm finding out that I've been using givens for a long time that somebody else has maybe talked about the given in an economic realm, that we are given things in the society, monetary system and so forth, in society systems and institutions. So that relates to the givens. The givens is sort of like what you have as a premise in your life. You've been given, uh, certain classifications. I write about this in cringefactors.com. Cringe, just like you expect, cringefactors.com. So the givens are, our classifications, class, race, determinants of what income it would be by education and age and all that kind of stuff, but also what's established in identity and gender, nationality, ethnicity, etc. Okay, so that's your givens. And then you have more what your surroundings might be. And so I come up with this word environs, which it does stand for environment, but in particular, particularly in examining our dwelling, our state of being in the dwelling, in this Urshan height explanation of WeltSchloss, the world dwelling that we're in. What is this environs? And I look at environs, I guess, in the feeling sense of things like what is being presented to us and how it's affecting us in the environment, but it's also a correlation to the relationship we have with our environment. But environs are very specific to the MEST analogy that I talk about in GrandTourIdeas.com. The MEST is the matter, energy, space, and time dynamic in which we are living. This is our backdrop or our setting that really we're going to mine gems from the WeltSchloss here. So environs are very important because, I will explain more because it's so intriguing to me as the word. The enviro is sort of the vibe we're getting out of things that are in the environment already affecting it, and then our impact on the environment collectively. And the environs, you could say, would be the rays of the dynamic or spectrum display of are things that are being placed into us, our consciousness, and then what we are either consciously or unconsciously through our consumerism, our behavior, our morbidity, affecting that environment. And that's affecting and creating the milieu. So Milleu is a fascinating area. I usually use the word setting more of where our, I describe as morb, the modus operandi of rational behavior, sort of this element of a projected identity, exists, and that could be also projected in our ego, and that's dealing with our setting and surroundings. This is an in-depth area of sort of what's impressed upon us and also oppressed upon us, and that could be what's weighing on us in conditions and situations that we find ourselves in, and it is collectively but also individually felt. And in this dynamic, the milieu is really an important area. It's in sociology. You can Google it and find it in different dimensions in philosophy and social psychology. An interesting area in sociology particularly to examine. That is a whole undertaking under itself. Because what's presented in the milieu is sort of really engaging what I described in the metasphere, sort of the social atmosphere and climate that then is upon us. And then what we're informing as well through our contribution, RTP, repeated thought patterns, and also reverbing back into the space of what we interpret and what we're up against and dealing with. So this is a fascinating area. But together, this represents Givens, Environs, and Milleu are the gems. And it is an opportunity to in our mind it, but also what can be extracted from it helps explain what we're dealing with in the WeltSchloss, which is the world dwelling of our experience. So this looks at what can be mined, explored, and also exploited from, because many people are mining things for a purpose of consumer gain or in their ideology to have a better understanding of things, which might be a bit more aloof in our immediate understanding, but defines a me on another level, because some in this regard are only mining their experience. One, it could be for conscious exploration, but more so what they can exploit from it. So that's something that is to be explored. So this is what I call an always laying reading. And laying is, again, adapting from language, but it's a laying because it's a bit of a language, but laying in itself of what is being laying, what's laid out for you. And there's an always element to this, because the more where this existing in the WeltSchloss has to have an ongoing interpretation, otherwise you kind of sink. If there isn't sort of a semblance of what reality is, and sometimes we can just be totally copacetic and fine with everything, and that's fine. That's one way of always laying reading, because we're just okay, we're fine. But otherwise we're sort of having to figure things out, look in sort of a deeper context to what is being realized. And so this is an always laying reading. And I'm not using the word always. I'm talking always, a ways. So there's different ways of one is doing it. It does come into fruition through how one is present, and particularly to others, but into the mess, right? How I'm present in the here and now. And the mess just is what it is. So the backdrop is matter, energy, space, and time. Though in this mind exploitation setting, this me's, it can, in morbology, in my writing about morb.masstrance.com, the morb element, it can be tricky to how one is present to the mess, because if it gets misconstrued, it's no longer just matter. It becomes a matter of concern. What's the matter? And energy is emotional distraught, and space invasion, and time theft. So that's a whole other dynamic. But the WeltSchloss can be revealing of this, and so coming to a reckoning again on this would help us alleviate sort of the negative spin or the disassociation to what simply is. So it's interesting to me. So I describe this as a particular state of a new word I just came up with, deciding to record right now, is imquala. Imquala. So what's implied or implicated as a quality of our existence. So imquala. So yeah, imquala. So maybe there's a better word for it. Maybe you know another term that can sort of suggest what I'm saying a bit better, but at least there's something here to define within the wet slosh as the mest backdrop and quality. That's an implicated quality. It's also what I'm implying, but also what I'm implicated in. And that can be a determinant. And this quality could be something I accept or something I want to redefine or extract again on a higher level through what's mine, through the gems of what's given, my environs and my milieu. Gee, it's getting deep, Mike. I hope so. So as I'm always languiding this, I could begin to examine how one, or my particularly to myself as the I, present to the mess, is present. So my I-ness is present. And it could be the projection of my ego. I'm examining how I'm projecting myself in my imagined self, egoism.com. But more so, I'm now beginning to decipher a correspondence. And in this correspondence, I'm able to evaluate uh, a reaction or potential response to how I have been in the past, been being, to now a more qualitative sense of how I am now. And this is imqualia or imquala. So it's an implicated quality that are determinants that are implied by my recognizing self or my situation, my way of I'm being here and now. It's really an I-ness because once I use the word am, it's already saying something. You could say, well, I am. Yeah, okay. Well, it's just I think you have a sort of a higher intuitive sense of I. But once you put am in, well, am what? I am. So mad, angry, what? So this imqual is going to allow me to sort of decipher and uh, decipher and shielding away this thing. So in a sense, even though I'm examining something that has a sensory aspect of looking at something, listening to something, sensing, feeling something, and it could be from this vestibular, intuitive gut feeling, to just sort of being present to it. I'm saying there's an implicated quality of vibe, and some of it are determinants. Like I'm determining this as an outcome or this experience meaning something, or what's revealing what I'm interpreting ahead of itself that this could mean an implication. This is going to mean this or that. Or in the past, that was the association, and now I'm over that, and this represents a new opportunity. And so this implicated quality would be something I don't want to miss because the determinants here is that, wow, it could be really crucial. It could be earth shattering potentially, or just simply coming into a sense of well beingness that now is going to allow me to sort of extract the quality of the gems that are present. This is, maybe new creation for the givens, my imquala, my implicated aspect of how I'm dealing with my environment, and then the Milleu characteristics, like the situations I've been dealing with, what's been imposed upon me, what could be just an extra weight on my shoulders because I've looked at things wrong, but it could also just be the state of factors of the cringe, the class association I've been put in, how I'm identified by race, income, nationality, gender, and economic implication or, ethnicity, how you define cringe, cringefactors.com again, for that writing. But yet there can be sort of this uncovering of this uh, socialized aspect of morbidity or this mask, and it could be the character mask that's referenced quite a bit, in writings of things. So there is then what I describe as a contextual agreement. And I also came up with this word or idea called the premise pulse. So as I'm present to the premise of what is that I'm interpreting, and it could be this social system that we're engaging, or the conditions of a situation that I'm in with you, or a group, or just sort of in my mind, I'm dealing with something and I'm working it out, and presenting itself as a situation I'm working through. There is a premise pulse about it. And I think this, when I came up with this, I thought, wow, just the present beat, there's a heartbeat. And as I'm present to things, I understand in a real deep level of appreciation. Now, follow me, stay with me now, that this is a gift. The present is a gift. You've been given the present moment. So, how you use this as an opportunity to appreciate, to unwrap this gift, is the WeltSchloss, is a realization, a reckoning of how I'm present in my dwelling. So this is the present, the world I've created, right, and the world of the mess. So this is an interpretation of what's given in the gems, in the environment, and the milieu that I'm in. So givens, environment, and milieu, the gems, are potentially a gift to be mined, to be explored, And to some level, at least in an egalitarian or enlightened way, I can then explore it to exploit it for the benefit of the good of the whole. Because now it's a gift that I can